For most of the projects that we do in this class, we will need to put a 1-inch border and a 2-inch grid on our piece of paper. And a lot of people struggle knowing how to do this, specifically knowing how to use the ruler. So I want to go over that today. What we're going to do first is put the 1-inch border on the outside of the paper. So to do this, I'm going to start on my left-hand side, and I'm going to take the ruler and line it right up with this bottom edge. Now, some rulers are different than others. Some will have a mark before and then the edge of the ruler. Some, like this ruler, just start at 0 and then they go over to 1. So in this case, I'm gonna line the edge up of the ruler to the edge of the paper, but if there is a notch there, you wanna line it up with that instead. But what I'm gonna do first is I'm gonna find where that 1 is, and I'm gonna make a small mark right there. Then I'm gonna pick up my ruler and I'm gonna slide the paper all the way to the other side and line it up with that same edge. Like I said, making sure that the edge of my ruler is right on the edge of the paper, and I'm gonna put a small dot right there where the 1 is. Now, once I have both of these marks here, I can take my ruler and line it up so that it's just to the left of the mark on either side. And I'm gonna take my left hand and hold that ruler down so it's nice and steady. And with my pencil, I'm just going to connect the dots, just like that. All right, so that one is done, and we're gonna do the exact same thing for all other 3 sides. So I turn it, now that we have our 1-inch border on the outside, we are ready to grid our picture plane on the inside. And the reason why we have this border on the outside is so that when the drawing is finished, we can attach a frame to the outside without cutting off anything that we're drawing in this picture plane right here. So what we want to make sure that we do as we draw the grid is, first of all, we need to use a 2B pencil. The reason why we want to do that is because anything softer than that, like a 6B or a 4B, could potentially stain the paper and not erase very well, because that's going to be darker graphite. And anything lighter than this, like a 4H or a 6H, could potentially emboss or dent the paper, so that then when you're shading, you'll see this weird line where that grid line was, and we don't want to have that. The key with this is using a 2B pencil and drawing extremely light. In terms of the setup for it, it's going to be very similar to what we had done on the last one, where we are going to line the ruler up, but this time, rather than doing the edge of the paper, you can see we're doing it with the edge of the picture plane right here on the inside of this 1-inch border. Since we're going to do a 2-inch grid, we're going to do it in multiples of 2. So I'm going to put a mark where the 2 is. I'm going to put a mark where the 4 is. The 6 is, the 8 is, and then the 10 is already there. Then we take our ruler, we slide it to the top of the paper, make sure that it's lined up as well as you can, and then we're gonna put a dot at the 2, 4, 6, 8, and then once again, the 10 is just there. I'm going to line it up very carefully. On the border, I had actually pushed down on the pencil. This time, to make sure that it's light, I'm just gonna let the pencil glide across. So I still have my left hand pressing down on the ruler, and I just let it glide down. So I'm barely marking the paper at all. And the goal should be to make it just dark enough to see, but not so dark that you're gonna be able to see it at the end, or it's gonna be too hard to erase. All right, now we almost have it finished. Now we just need to turn it and do the same thing for the vertical section. So line my ruler up right at the corner, 2, 4, 6, slide it up, 2, 4, 6. And with that, we have a piece of paper that has the 1-inch border and the 2-inch grid, and we are ready to start drawing.
What's your name, girlfriend? What's your name? What's your name, girlfriend? What's your name? What's your